Hi, and welcome to the Texas Master Beekeeper Advanced Level Training. Today we are going to cover other bees and wasps you may find in Texas. We will go over some general differences between bees and wasps before diving into specific types of wasps and bees you may encounter while out and about in Texas. Let's begin. As a beekeeper, you are often treated as an expert on all things that fly and can sting you. The knowledge shared in this presentation should help you answer any questions you may receive from the general public, identify a few of the common bees and wasps found in Texas, as well as discuss their biology and importance as beneficial insects or as pests. There are a few general differences between bees and wasps that can help you distinguish between the two. In general, bees have more body hair, whereas wasps tend to have very little hair. Bees have flattened hind legs, usually containing a pollen basket. On the other hand, wasps tend to have more rounded legs. Bees will feed primarily on pollen and nectar. Wasps will feed on plant nectar, however they also prey on other insects and will also scavenge for food scraps or carrion. Bees in general can only sting once, whereas wasps can and will sting repeatedly. Keep in mind the general umbrella of wasps also includes hornets and yellow jackets. Let's start off by covering some yellow jackets and hornets you may find in Texas. In general, these insects colonies are founded in the spring by a single mated, overwintered queen. The queen will construct papery brood cells first and then go out and forage for food. She will then start laying eggs and feeding her progeny. She is also responsible for defending the nest at this time. When the first offspring emerge, they will take on every task except for the egg laying. That is left to the foundress queen. The workers will feed the larvae various resources such as masticated adult and immature insects, other arthropods, and fresh carrion. The tasks involved in managing a hornet or yellow jacket hive are not determined by the age of the workers, as they are with honeybees. Some examples of yellow jackets and hornets you may find in Texas are the eastern yellow jacket as seen in the top image, the southern yellow jacket depicted in the bottom right image, and the bald-faced hornet shown in the bottom left corner. The eastern yellow jacket, species name Vespula maculifrons, is classified within the family Vespidae. Their bodies are primarily black with yellow markings. One identifying characteristic is that the first abdominal segment will have a wide, anchor-shaped black marking on the dorsal side. It creates mostly subterranean nests, but aerial nests do occur. The largest recorded nest founded for this species had 8 layers of comb and contained over 2,800 wasps. These are considered beneficial insects because they help manage populations of other unwanted insects. The southern yellow jacket, species name Vespula squamosa, is also classified within the family Vespidae. The workers are typically about 1/2 inch long and will have yellow and black markings on their head, thorax, and abdomen. They forage for protein sources, such as other insects and animal carcasses. This species constructs both terrestrial and aerial nests. One of the larger nests found was about 2.5 meters in height and had a total of 74 layers of comb. This insect is considered a pest since workers will emerge from the nest for defense if their hive is disturbed. The bald-faced hornet, species name Dolichovespula maculata, is classified under the family Vespidae. It is not a true hornet, rather it is considered a yellow jacket. It will construct aerial nests that are often a foot or more in diameter. A distinguishing characteristic of this wasp is the white markings on its face. The thorax and abdomen also have distinct white markings that are also a good indicator. They are considered beneficial insects since they have the potential to reduce the presence of other unwanted species such as other yellow jackets. They are also great pollinators while they are out foraging for nectar. As stated before, these wasps do perform beneficial tasks by destroying many different insects, such as those that attack cultivated and ornamental plants. However, they are very adept at stinging and will do so repeatedly. They can be aroused to defend their nest if they feel it is in danger of a threat. They also will release an alarm pheromone, recruiting other workers of the nest to defend their home. Other wasps you may find in Texas are the red wasp, the paper wasp, the potter wasp, and mud daubers. Now we are going to move into other bee species you could come across in Texas. These bee species cover a wide range of classification, so in order to appreciate their diversity, it is important to have a general idea of how organisms are organized based on their relation to other organisms. Phylogenesis is the classification system used to categorize closely related organisms. Its exact definition is that it is the evolutionary development and diversification of a species or group of organisms, or of a particular feature of an organism. Phylogeny is always organized in the order below. Kingdom is the overarching classification for organisms. For eukaryotic organisms, such as ourselves and insects, an example of a kingdom is Animalia. Continuing on down the sequence, using bees as an example, the next classification is the phylum, which is Arthropoda. The class is Insecta, and the order is Hymenoptera. Under Hymenoptera, there are several families classifying more specifically types of bees and wasps. Genus and species are classifications under a family that are increasingly more specific for a certain insect. From this point, we will refer to the bees discussed using their family name. Species names will also be used and are important to know for certain families covered in this presentation. We will cover only a handful of the families of bees found in Texas, but keep in mind there is a wide array of other bees found not only in Texas but across the United States. Here is a list of families of bees we will cover in the presentation. Let's start with the family Andrenidae. This is the mining bees family. They are the largest bee family under the order Hymenoptera. They are diverse in their body size and color. Their primary food source is pollen and nectar. They are ground nesters, hence mining. The nest depth can range from 1 inch to greater than 1 foot below ground. They also line their nests with a waterproofing substance to protect it from moisture and from mold growing. Some examples within this family are Andrena clarkella and Andrena barbilabus. They range from a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch in body size. Their colors also can range from a grayish brown to red. They are ground nesters and feed on pollen and nectar. They are also influential pollinators of commercial crops such as blueberries, cranberries, and apples. Moving on to the family Coletidae, the name of this family stems from the Latin word coletes, which means one who glues. These are solitary bees and show no evidence of sociality. Some species do nest in aggregations, meaning there can be many nests in one area, and some may even share a nest entrance, but they do not share nest cavities or hive tasks. Some species within this family are ground nesters and will secrete a waterproof substance, which looks like cellophane, to line the nest cells. This lining acts as a line of resistance to mold and water. Some examples of bees within the Coletidae family are cellophane bees, polyester bees, and plasterer bees. Their body size can range from a 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch in length. Some species can be very hairy, whereas other species have very little body hair and may look similar to wasps. Their diet consists of pollen and nectar. Some species even feed specifically from one group of plants, but can also be important pollinators of wildflowers. In the family Halictidae, there is a wide array of sociality among the species. They can range from being solitary and having no level of sociality to being primitively eusocial. Many species within this family have a queen and workers. Their diet consists of pollen and nectar. However, some species are specialists for certain crops. whereas other species may not be as resource specific and therefore are considered to be generalists. Many of the species are ground nesters, which consist of many interconnected tunnels. One example of a bee from the family Halictidae are sweat bees. They range from 1/8 inch to 1/2 inch in body length, with a body color range of black to metallic blue. They are called sweat bees because they will actually lick sweat from the surface of your skin. They are ground nesters and will feed on pollen and nectar. They are especially abundant during the flowering season and are considered to be important pollinators of sunflowers and other wildflowers. Moving on to the family Megachilidae, this family is considered the big-lipped family due to the large mouthparts the bees have. They use these mouthparts to cut pieces of leaves or petals from plants that they then use to line their nest cavity. Their diet consists of pollen and nectar. One major defining characteristic of megachilids is the very hairy underside of their abdomen. This part of their body is known as the scopa and is used to carry pollen. These bees are responsible for pollinating important commercial crops such as alfalfa, almonds, cherries, apples, and blueberries. One prime bee example within this family is the leafcutter bee. In Texas, there are about 63 different species of leafcutter bees that are classified into 7 different genera. Below are some images of different types of leafcutter bees found in Texas. Leafcutter bees use pieces of leaves that they cut from a plant to build the cigar-like nests containing several cells. They can be considered as pests of ornamental plants, such as roses, azaleas, and bougainvillea, because they deform the leaves. Each brood cell will contain a ball of pollen and a single egg, therefore producing 1 bee per cell. Their nests can be constructed in holes found in the soil, wood, and even plant stems. Unlike honeybees and bumblebees, leafcutter bees are solitary insects and do not live in large groups. They also do not aggressively defend their nests and will only sting if handled. Bumblebees are likely the most well-known native bee. They are large and social insects. Their colonies are produced on an annual basis by a mated queen that overwintered from the previous year. The queen searches for a suitable location, such as a rodent nest, to start a new colony. The queen at first collects pollen and then lays her first brood of worker eggs. After 21 days, the workers will emerge and take the responsibilities of collecting pollen and nectar, as well as defending the colony. This slide shows a few of the different species of bumblebees found in Texas. Note how hairy the bodies are, as well as the diversity of the colors on each bee. Bumblebees are classified under the family Apidae. They are considered to be beneficial insects since they pollinate many native and ornamental plants. They are able to sting several times, and it can be very severe. Carpenter bees are another type of native bee found in Texas. They are very large and are often mistaken for bumblebees. There are a few visual as well as behavioral characteristics, though, that distinguish the two. One major distinguishing characteristic is that bumblebees have very hairy abdomens. However, carpenter bees have almost no hair on their abdomens. They will have hair on their thorax, but their abdomen will be a shiny black color. The nest construction between the two types of bees are extremely different as well. Bumblebees construct their nests in pre-existing cavities underground. Their nests also have a popcorn or bubbly look. Carpenter bees excavate their own nests into wood, such as the eaves or siding of a home. Their nests look like tunnels and are separated into cells for the developing brood. Carpenter bees can be separated into 2 groups: Seratina, which consists of the small carpenter bees, and Xylocopa, which are the large carpenter bees. Seratina carpenter bees excavate their nests in the pithy stems of various bushes. Xylocopa carpenter bees excavate their nesting galleries in solid wood. These bees are considered pests if they create their nests in structural timbers. Here are two very different carpenter bees that are found in Texas. On the left is the eastern carpenter bee, Xylocopa virginica. This is an example of a typical carpenter bee that is often mistaken for a bumblebee. Notice again, though, that its abdomen is mostly hairless and very shiny. On the right is a picture of a small carpenter bee. Note the difference in body shape to the carpenter bee on the left, as well as the lack of hair around its thorax. Once the nesting cavity has been excavated, the female bee will gather pollen and mix it with nectar. The pollen mass is then placed at the end of the gallery. An egg is then laid and the female places a cap over the cell, which is made from chewed wood pulp. 2 generations of these bees occur each year, with the brood being produced in the spring and the summer. Carpenter bees can cause damage in major ways. Some examples are the weakening of structural timbers, gallery excavation in wooden water tanks, defecation, streaking on houses or painted structures, and simply just human annoyance. One thing to keep in mind is that carpenter bees rarely build their nests in painted or varnished wood, acting as a preventative technique. Other bee-like insects you may encounter in Texas are robber flies, which you may also see hanging around your honeybee hives. These flies are predatory insects and therefore feed on other insects. They are very hairy, especially around their face, making it look like they have a beard. Cicada killer is another insect you may find. They are very large, solitary insects that feed on adult cicadas. Many people will mistake them for the giant Asian hornet, when in reality they are very beneficial insects and do not bother humans much, if at all. The ichneumoniid wasp is a parasitic wasp. This wasp will lay its eggs in the larvae of other pest insects. Their eggs will develop inside the pest larvae, and therefore killing the pest when they emerge. They are extremely beneficial insects and important for biocontrol of other agricultural pests. Potter wasps are also beneficial insects, providing natural control over many types of insect pest larvae. The flower fly and the zebra beetle are just a small example of the many mimics of bees. I always get a kick when I come across an article about bees that use pictures of honeybee mimics instead of pictures of actual bees. It's amazing how well these insects can disguise themselves at first glance, but with a closer look, you can pick out other defining characteristics that signal to you that is most definitely not a bee. The cowkiller or velvet ant is another insect you may come across in Texas. This insect is not actually an ant, rather it is a wingless wasp. They have very red, hairy bodies and have a sting that will make you second-guess fooling with them. This is the conclusion of the Other Bees and Wasps training session.